my dear friends, let's give some tzedakah. Let's do it together. Achdus, Hakel, and let's see the power of no act, no good deed goes forgotten. Torah tells us this week a very unusual situation. Miriam, Moshe Rabbeinu's older sister, the one who saved him, remember? She put him in the Nile. She was the one who made sure that his mother should feed him. At one point, she was struck with tzarat, metzora, this miraculous skin disease. And this was after she spoke ill about Moshe Rabbeinu and his wife Zipporah. The Torah tells us at the end of the parsha of this week that Vatisager Miriam mechutz lamachne shivas yomim. Miriam was confined outside of the camp for 7 days. V'ha'am lo nosa ad he'osef Miriam. And the people did not travel, because remember they were constantly traveling, the 42 stations, until Miriam had entered. In other words, until she came back from the 7 days of confinement. And Rashi says, why? Said this was done in honor of her protection, Moshe Rabbeinu. And when she remained to see from far what's going to happen with Moshe Rabbeinu after she put him in the Nile, and after she saw how Batya, Paro's daughter, is saving him, she stood from far and looked what's going to be with him. In honor of this act, her commitment, her devotion to Moshe Rabbeinu, so here she was paid back that the people waited for her and didn't move on to the next journey. So the Torah tells us here to remember, to say thank you. Appreciate when somebody does something for you. And in this case, since she did something for Moshe Rabbeinu, which meant for the whole Jewish people, all of the Jewish people recognized and appreciated and thanked her for it in this manner. But here's a question. What does it mean they waited for her? Otherwise, they would move on? Where are they? In the desert. I mean, do you think that they would leave Miriam an entire week all by herself, alone in the desert, while the whole Jewish people are moving on? I mean, how can you do this? How can you leave someone alone in the desert? Danger. They're protected. They're shielded by the cloud, the protective cloud. But if they're moving on, the cloud is going along with them. So Miriam would say, unprotected, they can't leave her there alone. So what is the meaning that they stayed because of her honor? They stayed because they had to stay. They can't endanger a person. So the Rebbe explains it as following. The law is that if a person speaks Lashon Hara, speaks bad about somebody else, has to be excommunicated, so to say, has to leave the community and stay mechutz lamachne, outside of the camp, for 7 days. Now what happens when there is no camp? She can't say outside of the camp when there is no camp. In this case, if they're moving on, there is no camp. It is only when they're stationed in a certain place, when they settled in a certain place, and they set up camp, then there is the camp, and is outside of the camp. But as they're journeying, she would go along with them anyway, because there's nowhere else to go. Eventually, later on, when they would come into a new place, a new station, that's when she would have had to go out and be sequestered. So the Torah says the following. It wasn't about her being endangered. It's about her honor. Imagine. She looks stricken with this skin ailment which is called tzaras. And everybody's aware of it. She would have to travel with the people while she is in this unpleasant condition. That would be a great dishonor for her. And only eventually when they come to a certain camp, that's again where she's going to start her moment of outside of the community, her 7 days. That's a great dishonor. That's why the Torah says they didn't move on. They stayed here for her to get over those 7 days as quickly as possible. What a beautiful message of showing gratitude. Never forget what someone does to you.